In this daily drop, it's light metering basics part 1, so let's go. Okay, everybody, here we are back in the barn, and as mentioned last week, I really want to start talking a little bit about light metering. And I want to preface this episode by saying that I don't believe that everybody needs to use a light meter all of the time. In fact, I don't. But there are definitely places and times, or a time and a place for light meters. And hopefully, as we go through this series, and there are other parts to this, you will start to see when and where you might want to use a light meter. Now, I want to also say that with this particular quote-unquote series, I'm not going to focus on light metering for flash and strobes. This is not going to be for still photography. This is going to be for cine or moving picture applications. All right, so in this episode, what I want to do is talk about some of the basics. I want to talk about what a light meter is doing and the two main types of light metering. So there's a lot of light meters out there. This is an Argus light meter. This is Legacy. This doesn't even need a battery. It uses a photocell. There are still meters by companies like Sekonic that use that technology. This is a Minolta meter. This is my wife's light meter that she has had for a very long time. Neither of these two meters can be used really accurately for cine or moving picture applications. Well, they can, but they're not really designed specifically for that purpose. They don't have shutter speeds or shutter angles that relate to the most common ways of shooting when you're capturing moving pictures. And they'll get close and in the ballpark, but they're not really the best tools for that now. And this little Argus meter only goes to 500 ASA. A lot of us are shooting at 800, 1600, 3200. So they're still relevant. They can still be used for still photography. We'll talk about other meters. And I also want to mention that we're not talking about chroma type of meters here. We're not talking about taking readings and getting information related to color. We're really talking about luma. This is a meter here that I use regularly. This is the Sekonic L-308D. And this meter has modes in it that are designed for both still photography and cine or motion capture. So you can use this for still photography, shooting with a DSLR or mirrorless camera that might only have shutter speeds as opposed to shutter angles, but it does have cine modes as well. It's also designed to be able to take readings for very, very high frame rates. So if you were shooting something and you wanted to meter that for, let's say, 1,000 frames per second, you could use a meter like this. And there are less expensive meters that are also cine meters. This is the 308DC, which has now been updated to kind of combine a still photography and the cine meter together with all of the features. And I'll put a link in the description to that in terms of that exact model. It's not one that I have here. And I actually worked with Sekonic on this meter a little bit when it was being designed, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, so there are two basic types of metering that we do when we're out there in the world. One is using a light meter as an incident light meter, and that is basically taking readings of your subject matter, a person, an object, where the light is essentially falling. So you walk over to that particular place and you take a reading with the light meter, and based on your shutter, based on your ISO, and there are other ways to use your meter, but this is the basic. It will tell you what stop you should be at in terms of how your camera should be set. So if you're looking to get to a certain stop, you can also use the meter to help you with that. But the incident meter is basically taking readings at the location that the light is falling on. So you walk to that space and you take readings. We're not going to get into ratios in this particular episode. That's future stuff, and there's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about. The second type of metering, and I'm just going to actually talk about it two different ways. I'm actually changing this Luma sphere, which is really designed, again, we'll talk about this some more, to take a reading of a three-dimensional object, is to put something called a spot meter on your meter. When you're using this, what you're doing is you are doing a reflective reading of light. So it's light bouncing off of your subject matter, a person, object, people, objects, and it will give you a reading based on that. This happens to be a 5-degree spot meter, which is taking a reflective metering reading. There are other meters that can be as precise as 1 degree, and we'll talk about that again in the future. Now, there are other reflective meters. In fact, this isn't a real camera, sorry. Every camera that is out there in the world, basically, that is a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, will have a meter. You've seen it in either the viewfinder or on the screen, and it will tell you, Pi's ready, it will tell you basically where you should be based on your camera settings. Or if you, basically it's telling you you're over or underexposed, and then you make settings to your lighting, to your ISO, probably not to your shutter, and usually we are deciding when we're capturing moving pictures to be at a particular aperture. So you work with all of these things together. But basically, again, two different types of metering. There is the incident meter, where you're going to the subject area, and then there is reflective metering, where you're taking a reading with your camera or a spot meter of something and you're reading the reflected light that's coming off of it. So if you go into your camera, you will see that there are lots of different metering options. In fact, you can do an average metering, you can do spot metering, and there's a lot of options there. But I think most importantly, besides that, what I want to talk about in this episode is, what is that reading? What is it that your incident or reflective reading is trying to do? And what it's trying to do is tell you where this right here, middle gray, should be exposed, 18% gray. And that's what a meter is basically doing. Now, again, we can go down this rabbit hole pretty deeply, because different cameras, based on how they're set up, whether they're shooting in just Rec 709 with a baked-in look, or log or raw, you know, that's going to make some difference here. But effectively, at its most basic, what the light meter is trying to do is tell you how to properly expose for 18% or middle gray. So just remember that, because if you can expose correctly for this, for middle gray, then generally all of the other things should fall into place, regardless of your camera's dynamic range. All right, hopefully that made sense. That's just a little bit of an intro. That's a part 1 in terms of light metering basics. Don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.